Right, I'm back at it again. This time gonna be talking about the full timeline of the NFC South. Full timeline. If you watched the previous video, that was just a preview of the first three. But this time I'm gonna be talking about the full timeline. But this time I'm gonna recap from the previous video, as I stated before. So we already know, if you watched the previous video, the next time to hit the NFC South is 2027 and 2028. We talked about that. That will be the next time they hit the NFC South, twice, back to back. We already know the Panthers, the Saints, and then the Falcons afterwards. Yeah. Yeah, follow the pattern, guys. Follow the win-loss pattern, too. There's a pattern here. Every 3 to 5 years, they hit the NFC South. Twice. Sometimes twice, and sometimes once. Once here, once here, once here, and once here. And then they hit the NFC South twice. Back to back here, and now back to back here. You see the pattern? There's like small gaps with big gaps right in between. Small gaps and then big gaps. Or should I say big gaps and small gaps? Either way, you can put it either way, whatever way you want it. But this is the pattern. This is the upcoming pattern. And the next time they hit the NFC South is 2027 and 2028. So the Panthers Super Bowl season run starts during the 2026 season after Super Bowl 60. And as of right now, the Panthers are actually sitting at what, 6-4, and the Bucks are sitting at 6-3 in the NFC South as of right now. Very fascinating. There's a chance that the Panthers could win the NFC South. There's a chance, but we'll just have to wait and see. Move on. So the next Super Bowl appearances, of course, Super Bowl 61 and 62. The Panthers go to SoFi Stadium and lose. That's Super Bowl 61. And then the Saints go to the Super Bowl the following year, Super Bowl 62, which will be in Atlanta. So that will be the Saints' second win, right? Second Super Bowl win. And this will be the Panthers' third Super Bowl loss. Yeah, that sucks. And then 5 years later, we got the Atlanta Falcons. The Atlanta Falcons, 2035. As of right now, the Atlanta Falcons are still in the 17-year cycle. They're still in their 17-year cycle. So that means there's a few years left before the Falcons make another Super Bowl run, which would be in 2035. Technically starting during the 2034 season, leading up to the Super Bowl in 2035. So their Super Bowl, the Falcons Super Bowl run, or third Super Bowl run, starts in 2034, leading up to the Super Bowl in 2035, which is exactly 17 years after their second Super Bowl appearance. Fascinating, ain't it? So the NFC South cycles, the Bucks, Saints, and Falcons both have a 17-year cycle. And the Panthers have a 11-year cycle. The shortest cycle in the NFC South compared to the other three teams. So, 17-year cycles, 11-year cycle. So the Panthers appear more on the timeline, and you're probably wondering, when will the Panthers win their first Super Bowl, and when will the Falcons win their first Super Bowl, and when will the Bucks and the Saints lose their first Super Bowl? Well, I'm going to tell you that. This is the full timeline right here. This entire timeline, the NFC South timeline from 1999 to 2068. This is the entire timeline from 1999 to 2068. And this is the next wins, right? The Panthers lose in 2027. The Saints win their second Super Bowl in 2028, followed by the Falcons lose, and then the Panthers lose again, which will be 11 years later after their third appearance. So that will be another loss. That will be 4 losses for the Carolina Panthers, 4 Super Bowl losses, and then the Bucks in 2039 getting their third Super Bowl. There's a switch after 2039. Now you're about to start seeing the teams that was winning Super Bowls start losing Super Bowls, starting with the Saints. The Saints lose their first ever Super Bowl in 2045. 2045 is when they lose their first Super Bowl. Followed by the Panthers winning their first Super Bowl in 20 what? 50. So the Panthers don't win their first Super Bowl until 2050. Isn't that funny that the Panthers lose Super Bowl 50 and but then win Super Bowl 50, then win their first Super Bowl in 2050? You see that, right? That's almost foreshadowing, ain't it? That's foreshadowing. But the Panthers don't get their first Super Bowl win until 2050. Yeah, 2050 is fucking crazy, if you ask me. That's crazy. So that means the Panthers have to what? Lose two more Super Bowls and then they win their first one. Uh-huh. And then the Falcons after the Panthers, then there's the Falcons. They lose another Super Bowl, which will be their fourth loss. And then you got the Buccaneers, who finally actually loses their first Super Bowl ever. That's when the Bucks lose their first Super Bowl. So that will put the Bucks at 3-1. And then you got the Panthers winning a second Super Bowl. That'll be put them at 2-4. And then finally, the Atlanta Falcons win their first Super Bowl in 2068. 2068. That's when the Falcons win their first Super Bowl. You know how long that is? 2068 is a long ass way from now. So that means the Falcons have to sit through two more Super Bowl losses. Two more. And those two come from 2035. And then the next one, 2051. And then after that, the Falcons finally get their first Super Bowl win, which is 17 goddamn years. Which is ridiculous. Every 17 years, the Falcons go to the Super Bowl and then lose. Until 2068 when they finally win their first one. And this is what the NFC South is going to look like in Super Bowl appearances from 1999 to 2068. The Bucks sitting at 3-1. Then you got the Saints sitting at 2-2. You got the Panthers sitting at 2-4. And then you got the Falcons sitting at what? 1-4. 1-4. So the switch happens after 2039. So the teams that were winning, right, the Bucks and the Saints, will actually start losing Super Bowls, and then the teams that were losing Super Bowls will start winning Super Bowls, the Panthers and the Falcons. So the division completely flips. You're starting to see teams that was losing, and now you see teams that's winning again. You see it? But after 2068, that's when you see the Bucks. The Bucks will actually lose two more Super Bowls after 2068 if you continue this pattern. And then the Saints will actually win two more after 2068. The Panthers will lose three more, and the Falcons will win another one. So that will put them at 2-4, and that'll put the Panthers at 2-7 after 2068. That'll put the Saints at 4-2 after 2068, and that'll put the Bucks at 3-3 after 2068. So that means the Saints will be in front of the Bucks. The Bucks will have three goddamn Super Bowl losses and 3 wins. The Saints will sit at 4-2, 4 Super Bowl wins and 2 losses. Panthers will sit at 2 Super Bowl wins and 7 Super Bowl losses. The Falcons will sit at 2 Super Bowl wins and then 4 losses. So the real juggernauts of the NFC South is the Tampa Bay Bucks and the Saints. Those are the two NFC South teams, or the juggernauts of the NFC South, if you want to say. And the Panthers and the Falcons are kind of like the gutter teams of the NFC South, while the Bucks and the Saints are kind of like the dominant teams in the NFC South, both of them. So that's the complete timeline. This is the full timeline. This is the complete and full timeline. You can share it with your friends. You can tell everybody. But we already know from 1999 to 2021, all these Super Bowls happened. Now we just waiting on the Panthers and the Saints. Waiting on them to hit the NFC South twice in 2027 to 2028. That'll be a lost win. And then we're followed by a loss afterwards. After But yeah, this is the full timeline. This is the complete and full timeline from 1999 to 2068. This is the full timeline. This is the end of the video. I wanted to make this video very short though, but this is the full timeline. This is basically a recap of the first video, and I'm showing you the complete and full timeline now from 1999 to 2068. So this is the full timeline, and this is what the NFC South will look like after, well, all the way from 1999 to 2068. This is what the NFC South will look like in Super Bowl appearances, wins and losses.